Hello and welcome to this, the first of my video blogs. It's 12:30 on Friday the 17th of June 2011 here in the UK, and hello to all my friends and associates on Twitter and Facebook all around the world. Excuse me a minute, I'll start with a nice sip of coffee. To all my cousins in the US, I'm sure you'll appreciate a coffee sip today going well. So I think I'd start by introducing myself and my interest in the paranormal and how I got started. My name is Nigel Charles Wright. I'm 53 years old, married, with 2 children and 3 grandchildren. My interest in the paranormal goes right back to early childhood, because at the age of about 8 years old or so, whilst on a camping and caravanning holiday with my parents in Devon, I encountered a UFO. This encounter, I discovered at a much later date, led to a possible contact with a Nordic type of being. I only discovered this when I was regressively hypnotized several years later, but more of that on a later date. After being interested in UFOs up to the age of about 30 or so, where I was living in Exmouth in Devon, encountered a massive UFO wave in 1997. I'd been ill for quite some time with a rather serious illness and was laid up at home. My brother-in-law, who was a professional journalist in the sports field, was working for a local newspaper, the editor of which was at a total loss to know what to write about this UFO wave, and it was then mentioned that I was an amateur ufologist and quite into the subject. The editor then decided to phone me and offered me the chance to write an article for the newspaper on the UFO occurrences that were going on at that time. So from these humble beginnings, very humble beginnings, started my journalistic career in paranormal. This led to a weekly column in a local newspaper called Nigel Wright's Diary of the Paranormal, and though not asking for it, I suddenly had to become an expert in all things to do with the paranormal field. Luckily I had ghost encounters, having lived in a 17th century haunted cottage, and had quite a few encounters with ghosts as well, so I had some experience in the other fields of the paranormal despite ufology. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Whilst I was doing this journalism, I came across a guy called John Downes. John had been a cryptozoologist, professional journalist for several years, and had quite a few books under his belt, and he was doing a local radio show. He raised a point about UFOs, and I vehemently disagreed with, and I phoned in to disagree with him on air. This led eventually to him and I meeting up, and I became a member of his group, the Centre for Fortean Zoology, based in Exeter. The collaboration between us continued, and we ended up writing a book together, entitled The Rising of the Moon. This led to several press and TV appearances, and before I knew it, I, a humble ex-cabbie from a little small seaside town in Devon, was appearing on national TV and radio. And so began a very long and sometimes tedious career in the world of professional journalism. I have specialised particularly in the paranormal, with cryptozoology, ghosts, but my first love of course is ufology. Today we find ourselves in rather, well, shall we say, unusual and uncharted waters in the field of ufology. Sightings are gaining all around the world, and I think we are approaching a zenith, a turning point. Now everybody knows about 2012 and the Mayan prophecies, etc., and it is becoming a buzzword that 2012 will be the year of disclosure, the year of final contact between Earth people and extraterrestrials. This is a subject I also hope to cover in future blogs. Of course, if any major event happens, then I will obviously record an instant emergency blog and put it on the net for my friends to share. But in the meantime, I have a new and I think rather exciting project to announce. There is on the internet a site for live TV broadcasting. Now this is what I intend to do with the help of my dear wife Sue. Once a week we're going to have an online webcam discussion and debate program. I will fire off a question or a debating point and then invite people to join in live on this TV show with us so that we can have a full-ranging debate on anything to do with the paranormal. Obviously we have laws of libel and laws of public applied to. But apart from that, anything goes in the cryptozoological, ufology, anything to do with paranormal at all. I think this will be a really fascinating thing, and I'm hoping to run it once a week. Again, if anything major crops up, then we'll have to have a program, extra special program to cover that. So hi to all my friends out there. Thank you so much for being my friends on Twitter, Facebook and Twitter. I love communicating with people from all around the world and all walks of life and different viewpoints. And for you who do live in different time zones to us in the UK, don't forget that this live TV program will be able to be replayed at whatever time suits you. So it doesn't matter what time zone you live in, you will be able to catch up with the show. I'll also be publishing my email address, which is also available on the internet on different sources. So if you can't join in live, please send your queries or comments on my email and I'll reply very promptly, that I promise you. I think it's very rude not to reply to emails. So welcome one and all. I live here in Morecambe in Lancashire. It's up in the northwest part of England, just by Morecambe Bay. This place actually does have a UFO history of its own around here, so we'll be going into that at a later date. Hello, welcome, thank you for joining this first video blog, and I hope to see and hear from many of you again. Thanks for listening. Bye.